like to thank everybody for coming out. The ones that were able to, the ones that weren't. We pray that the Lord touch you. Pray that something be said through video, something that will touch somebody. That's what we're here for. There's a world out there, man, that is absolutely crumbling to pieces. And the Bible declares unto us, John 3:16, that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And that's what we're trying to do. You know, I always wanted, after the Lord did what he did for me, I always wanted to help others, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be there. I know what it's like to sleep on a bench. I know what it's like to have to look around for food I know what it's like. And I just want people to know that there's a God that loves them. That was one thing I had to my advantage, was that I was raised up in church. And Pam, I knew there was a God that loved me. I couldn't understand how he could love me after everything that I'd done, but I knew that he did love me. So I had that advantage. There's people out there that don't have that advantage. And they're suffering and they're hurting and they're just looking for something. And that's what we're here to do. But we're going to stand and we're going to let Brother Robbie open up in prayer. That you would help us to reach with your hands and speak with your mouth. Because it's the only thing that's going to change it. Lord, is you. We give you the honor and the praise for it. In your mighty name, Jesus, we pray. Amen. All righty, we're going to ask Brother Timmy Mills, and I ain't saying this because he's here, but that's one of my favorite singers. I love to listen to him sing, and you know, we go to church together, and he goes to church here, but I like it when he becomes a part of what we do, because he packs an anointing to sing. He really does. But everybody will make him welcome.
Amen. Praise the Lord, everybody.
Praise the Lord.
Amen. How many loves Jesus today? Amen. Amen. We're just going to sing a couple, amen, and let these gentlemen give some testimonies tonight, amen. But I love the Lord tonight. I'm thankful to be here, amen. I feel good. It might be a little bit hot, amen, but it's all right, amen. We're up here to lift Jesus up tonight, amen. Y'all help me sing. We're going to sing a couple that we know, amen. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here, I'll find my rest. Without you, I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need you. Whoa, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Amen. Where sin runs deep, your grace is born. Where grace is found, where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Teach my soul to rest in you. When temptation comes my way, when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, show my hope and stay. Let's lift our hands, amen. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. You're my one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Amen.
Thank you, Lord.
Amen. He's good, ain't he, church?
Yes, thank you, Jesus.
I'm going to sing a couple new ones tonight. I hope they're in the right key. If they're not, y'all just help me anyway. Amen. Amen. I'll raise a hallelujah in the presence of my enemies. I'll raise a hallelujah louder than the unbelief. I'll raise a my weapon is a melody. I'll raise a hallelujah. Heaven comes to fight for me, and I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, our King is alive. I'll raise a hallelujah with everything inside of me. I raise a hallelujah. I will watch the darkness flee. I raise a hallelujah. Listen, in the middle of the mystery, I raise a hallelujah. Lost your hold on me, and I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. And up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, our King. Of my enemies, is a hallelujah, louder than the unbelief. Let's go to the chorus. And I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm, louder and louder. You're gonna hear my praises roar. And up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, our King is alive.
Thank you, Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, thank you, Jesus.
I gotta fix this. It keeps coming off on me. Amen. Somebody, Robbie, give a testimony while I fix this.
I want to say I love the Lord tonight. You know, I was thinking last night when I was listening to the testimonies of the people. You know, I guess it's probably pretty normal for most of us. We look at somebody who's addicted to drugs. We think, you know, I always thought that, you know, they chose that road. You know, it's just a choice that they made. And last night, I guess God was ministering to me. I never have been addicted to anything other than sin. I was addicted to sin. That was my biggest addiction. I was thinking about that. I was addicted to sin. I was addicted to the ways of the world and the pride of life, and the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh. That's what my addiction was. And I was thinking about, as those girls was talking, they began to say how they were addicted to meth, and they were addicted to all these different kinds of drugs. And what drove them? What drove them to that? And last night, I guess it just opened my eyes that a lot of people are addicted. And we look at that and we say, well, they're addicted and they chose that road. But we fail to think of what maybe took them down that road. You know, and each one of them, you know, they ended up in jail. And they was praising God because they ended up in jail. And by ending up in jail, it led them to God. And it made me realize that sometimes God lets us go down roads that we don't understand. And they're hard and they're rough. And we're thinking, why are we there? But after we get through all that, we find out that we got greater victory through God. And it just, I was so amazed last night for those testimonies on how that, you know, the things that them people went through. Nobody deserves that. You know, nobody deserves that. And I know, I grew up, my brother, you know, Jason, I grew up with him. He had a good life. He didn't have, nobody did anything to him. He chose to try drugs and got addicted. But, you know, some people do that, but then some people are driven, looking for help. Looking for help. And we're the church. We're supposed to be their help. And it really made me think last night of how, you know, we say a city sit on a hill is not hid. Or does a man light a candle and put it under a bushel? It makes me wonder how bright we're really shining.
Absolutely.
When they go down this path and they have a choice either to come to God or go to this, and they choose to go this way, it makes me wonder if the world and the things of the world are not outshining us. It made me feel like there's more I can do. And I love the Lord, and I really got a different look on things last night, and I loved it. I loved it when them three girls testified, and they talked about how, you know, they went down that road, and you're thinking, you know, that a dog don't even deserve some of that, you know. But then they'd say, I'm 2 years clean.
Yes.
I'm a year clean. I'm in college. I'm taking classes, and I'm thinking,
Thank you, Lord.
God is a way maker,
Yes,
man.
Yes, He is.
Even when we don't see the way that He's going to make for us, man. And I'm telling you, it overwhelmed me last night. I sat back there and cried listening to that. And I'm proud of my brother. I'm proud of what he's doing. I'm proud of what God's doing through him.
Yes.
Because like he says, it's not
Not
him.
him.
We can't do anything, guys.
That's what He was chosen.
But God through us can do anything. And He does need us, man. God needs you guys. God needs me. He needs all of us. And I love the Lord tonight. I do. I love the Lord.
Thank you, Jesus.
Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen. I think I fixed it, y'all. I had the low battery saver mode on there and it kept kicking my screen off, and I don't know some of these words, so I'm going to try another one, amen. I'm going to sing a couple more if that's all right. So. And I don't want to hear anymore. Teach me to listen. And I don't want to see anymore. Give me a vision that you could move on this heart to be set apart. And I don't need to recognize the man in the mirror. And I don't want to trade your plan for something familiar. And I can't waste a day. And I can't stay the same. I wanna be different. I wanna be changed. All of me's gone. And all that remains, a fire so bright the whole world can see. There's something different. Come and be different. And I don't want to spend my life stuck in a pattern. And I don't want to gain this world and lose what matters. So I'm giving up everything because I want to be different. I want to be changed. Till all of me's gone. And all that remains, a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something different. So come and be different. Hear me. How many believe that tonight? Amen. How many wants to be different? Amen. I want to be changed. Amen. I heard the preacher, amen, say one time, he said, Lord, why do I go through so much, amen? Why can't it just be different for me, amen? He said, can you just change, amen, all these things around me? I heard this, Micah Tyler said, he said, you know, when the Lord didn't move for me, when I asked him to change everything for me, I asked him to change me so I could handle the storms around me, amen? And that really hit home. Change me for the storms that I'm going through to make me stronger. Yes. Amen. I love the Lord tonight. Amen. I'm going to sing another one that Jason asked me to sing, and I think this is the right key. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. 'Cause I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. 'Cause I'm no child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again to your family. Now your blood flows through my veins. 'Cause I'm no longer a slave to fear. 'Cause I am a child of God. 'Cause I'm no longer a slave to fear. child of God. And I am surrounded by the arms of the Father. And I am surrounded by songs of deliverance. We've been liberated from all of our bondage. We're the sons and the daughters. Yes, we are. Let us sing our freedom. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me and I will stand and sing. I am a child of God. I mean, Lord, amen. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me and I will stand and sing. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. 'Cause I'm no longer a slave to fear. 'Cause I am a child of God. 'Cause I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, 'cause I am a child of God. Amen. Come up here and help me with this song, Pam. We've been requested. We got a mic over here. Amen. We're gonna. It's just your height too, man. Amen. This is an old song. We've sung it a couple of times. Amen. And, the Lord's good. Amen. I feel the Holy Ghost tonight. Amen. Can you see that? Why me, Lord?
Praise the Lord.
Amen. She's got it. Amen. Why me, Lord? What have I ever done to deserve even one of these pleasures I've known? Tell me, Lord, what did I ever do that was worth loving you, or the kindness you've shown? Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it. So help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I My soul's in your hands. Tell me, Lord, if you think there's a way I can try to repay all I've taken from you. Well, maybe, Lord, I can show someone else what I've been through myself on my way back to you. Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus. I know what I am. Now that I know that I needed you, so help me, Jesus. My soul's in your hands. Think about it, church. Tell me, Lord, if you think there's a way I can try to repay all I've taken from you. Well, maybe, Lord, I can show someone else what I've been through myself on my way back to you. Help me, church. Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus. I know what I am. Now that I know that I needed you, so help me, Jesus. My soul's in your hands. My soul's in your hands.
Amen.
Man, I was thinking as he sung that song, I'm no longer a slave to fear. I remember me waking up in the mornings and being so afraid of what laid ahead that day, because you had a constant worry of how you was going to hustle and how you was going to do this and do this. I thank God that I'm no longer a slave to that fear anymore. That I can wake up every day with a renewed mind, pressed on by the blood of Jesus, knowing that I've got everything that I need. The Bible declares unto me that this I recall to mind, and therefore I have hope. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because His compassions, they fail not. They are new every morning, and great is His faithfulness. That's what I strive for today. Lord, every time that sun rises up, I have new mercies. And I am so thankful, because I don't even want to begin to think of where I would be without His mercy. I don't even want to think about that. That terrifies me. But I love the Lord. I'm like Kimmy. I feel the Spirit of the Lord here tonight, and I'm happy. I'm happy. But I ain't going to Babylon. We're going to let these boys come up. I'm just going to have them come up, whichever one wants to come first, and they can tell you their name and where they're from, and tell you their story, and just let God minister to them.
How you guys doing tonight? I feel like I'm about to sing karaoke. I've never been a real big fan of speaking to a mic, but and I've never really pictured myself ever standing in front of people giving a testimony about anything, you know, like struggling through drugs but I never what's that?
Stand where you're comfortable at. I can let the mic sense for you.
All right. See, before I came into the program, I was struggling with. It's better to tell you what drugs I hadn't done, but fortunate enough for me, I never really had an interest in needles. I was always scared of needles, but not scared enough to not get tattoos, you know. But I don't know where my addiction really started, but I really don't even want to talk about my past because that don't even define me. You know what I mean?
That's right.
In 2016, I moved to Florida. This was, you know, I got in an accident. Lucky to be alive, but if it wasn't for my daughter being alive, I probably wouldn't be here. So I know there's definitely still a purpose. I moved to Oregon. I took that settlement money, moved down to Florida with my best friends, and you know, I went and seen John D. Maxwell, and it was like every single thing that he preached. I mean, prior to that, I hadn't been in church in like 5 years, but everything that he said, the one thing I had never forgotten was, do not let fear make decisions for you. And I forgot about that completely. Not too long after, had money stolen from me, came home. About 2017, I got back on a railroad. I got introduced to methamphetamine, and I thought it made me a super railroader, but really it just made my relationship with my daughter. I wouldn't try to spend any time with her, and I've seen how good one of my friends he'd been gone for a year, you know. His name is, my brother's here now, his name is Carlos. And you know, I knew I was going down the wrong track, but I asked God for a sign, like, I need a sign, because I need to change, I want to change. I don't know how much further rock bottom you can get than that, but I seen where he'd been on Facebook, and you know, the program's a year long, seeing how healthy he looked, seeing how the relationship he had with his son, he so much better. I mean, I wanted that, and so I came into the program, and it was instantly, I was walking around guys who also wanted to change, who had been through the program, who knew exactly what I was going through, and talk about God moving in your life, man. I'm not a boastful person, I just know that God's changed my life. He's changed me. And I'm never going back to that lifestyle I lived before. And God knows that. But, I always had a life verse, Psalms 144:1. It's blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers to fight. And I never really got the full meaning of it until I started putting my head in the Word every day. This program, I encourage everyone to come to this program that's struggling with drugs, because not only it's not all about getting sober, really. It's you build a friendship, you build your character, you become the person God intended you to be, and not just for you, but for your kids, your parents. Now, do it for God first and foremost. You know, through God, anything's possible. And I want to continue to do that, and you know, God, the path that He intended me to be on, I'll see where life takes me. But until then, I'm just going to keep building myself, and you know, I just keep thinking about like how I'm surrounded around people that also want to change and encourage me. So I give a lot of credit to these two gentlemen right here. Ben right here, we have a process to the program where it's a 2-week process where they're your shadow. They actually follow you and do everything that they just watch you do everything, except for going to the bathroom and stuff like that. Yeah, he really brought me in, told me everything was gonna be all right, and it's not. I won't get in trouble for anything for the 2 weeks, but he would if I did anything wrong. I don't know. See how much I've changed. I never really thought I'd be in any kind of leadership role in my life, other than working past jobs. But now, like in the program, I was doing laundry. Now, just today, it became like I'm part of the kitchen, and there's like a lot of freedom. There's there's so many good things about the program, but I just want to keep my head in it and just keep striving forward. So, thank you guys.
How y'all doing? My name's Ben. Come from a little town in Tennessee called Sparta. It's one of those towns where everybody knows everybody and they know all about all the business you think they don't know, they know it. Moved around a lot as a kid. My parents, they were both in the medical field, so they worked 70 hours a week, broke their backs to make sure me and my brothers and sister didn't want for nothing. I had a great life. A lot of people that met me when I was in my addiction would look at me, they'd find out who my parents were, and they'd be like, what are you doing here? I'm one of those guys that's it doesn't matter where you come from, you take that wrong turn and you can end up right, like you were saying earlier, it doesn't matter. You veer off course, But got married when I was 20, have 2 awesome kids, me and my wife. By the grace of God, we're still together, and I really think that it's meant to be, because my dad said it one time, we put each other and have been through so much as a marriage that it would have ruined 10 other marriages, Started off drinking, a lot of drinking, went to pills, and then finally ended up on meth, got strung out. My wife ended up going to jail, and when she was gone, within a month and a half, I lost the kids, my house, and my car, just real quick. So went down real fast for me. Stayed in that for about 3 years, started shooting up, and it was a hard road. But about a month before I came to this program, actually, me and my wife, we started praying, and praying for a sign, praying for help. The pastor that was here, Colby, was actually from the town that I'm from. It seemed like every time, right when we needed it, he'd show up, help us with a room, just help us, Sorry.
It's all right.
But it showed me that there's, because I knew him from way before he came to the program. So, it showed me that there's definitely more out there than what I was seeing, And on Christmas Eve, me and my wife probably had one of the biggest worst fights we've ever had in our relationship. And after I calmed down, went back to the room, we sat down and was like, look, we got to do something, There's something better than this. So we called Colby, and 3 days later, we were in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, program. And I don't see it myself, the changes I've made, but I know that there's been significant change. I probably talk more to my wife now than I did for years. We both came into the program together. She's over in Beckley right now, so. But I talk to her once a month, or once a week, see her once a month, and we're closer now than we ever have been. My kids, I've learned more about them in these past 6 months than I did for 3 years.
Thank you, Jesus.
My mom actually talked to her, not asking for money. I'm actually building that relationship back.
Lord.
So he is a God of restoration.
Yes, he is.
He's healing everything I needed that I thought I'd lost, you know.
Help.
He's giving it all back.
Thank you, Jesus.
I've moved up to leadership in the program, you know. I just became a dorm leader, so that, to me, I thought that'd be something I'd never get, because I always thought of myself as worthless failure or something, you know. So the fact that the leadership has that much respect for me, it means a lot to me. But I mean, I know he's a great God, and I know he's got great things planned for me, you know. And I'm gonna just follow his will. Yep. Thank you.
I'm going to try not to grab the microphone because I always have a tendency to run off and pull a cord down or something here and there. But my name's Jeremy, and I'm a staff member of Life Changers. And long before I ever come into a place to where I was actually working for ministry, I actually had to come through the program myself. And I'm one of the funny cases. Our pastor Adam, which is over all of West Virginia, was preaching a few weeks ago, and they said, you know, we probably should have gave up on Jeremy a long time ago, but we never did because we don't give up on people. We may have to let people go down a certain road and choose their own path. Paul said, you know, sometimes we got to give people over so their body might be destroyed. That way their soul will be saved. And I'd love to say I come into this program, my life changed and everything went great, but I was not that guy. I'd come in and life would get good, and I'd leave. Because that's all I knew. Because I didn't know what it meant to be successful. I didn't know what it meant to be anything outside of this poor little boy from a poor town that didn't have no hope or no future. And every time he walked into a church house, everyone would turn their head because, I want to be honest with you, usually I'd walk in drunk. Because I was just trying to maintain through life. I grew up with a good family that done everything they could for me. My mom was a saint. There's a lot of times I would walk in and she would try to just tell me about the goodness of God, and I'd tell her I didn't want to hear it because I didn't believe in God. And I didn't want to hear it because if God was so good, then why was my life so bad? But I had no fear of the Lord. I had no respect for the Lord because what I thought I had was God the whole time. When I come to find out, I had this thing called religion. Yeah. And whenever you operate out of religion, I promise you, you'll never find a new and abundant life.
Amen.
And so how I ended up coming back to Life Changers was back in 2017, I was actually here in the program, and I got a call that changed the course of my life forever. And I found out my brother overdosed, and he went on. And shortly after that, my dad was sick, and you know his cirrhosis turned to cancer, and they wasn't giving him much. And I said, well, I'm gonna go spend time with my dad. And during that time, my dad became not only a dad, but he became a father because he had given his life to the Lord, and he was trying to show me the ways of the Lord, and he was serving in the church. And he was going out and trying to really show me what it took to be a man, but at the same time, while I was living the life I did, he never pushed himself on me. And back in February of, not last year, but the year before last, my dad went on to be with the Lord. And he left a testimony by the way he lived his life. And he planted a lot of good words in me that, you know, started to sprout. But when my dad passed away, it spiraled me. Because my dad was the one I always came to. I knew that it didn't matter how messed up the situation was, I could come to my father. And I never realized or respected him until I lost him. And tonight, I probably won't even open my Bible, to be honest with you, but I'm going to tell you the story of Hosea, and I'm going to tell it to you in a way that I can tell my testimony. Because I related to it when I came in, because I was Gomer. Hosea, I'm sure y'all know the story, but just in case you don't, I'm going to let you in a little bit. Hosea was a prophet, and he's a prophet not only of the Lord, but he's a prophet of the Lord when he was in a town in a time that they didn't honor the Lord. They hadn't heard from the Lord in 400 years, and they didn't know what was going on. They was just going on living their life the way they wanted to. And see, the thing about my life was God had placed people inside of my life to show me the right way and teach me the right way, but I wouldn't listen. And I went on to do my own things, even after forming this relationship, just as Jose and Gomer did. But the beauty of it all was, and this is what caught my eye when I was still back out there and living in a mess, and I began to read the Bible and began to search out to see if this God was real, way before a program, way before you had ever thought I'd be up here doing what I'm doing right now. I read this because I didn't know what I needed. And he said, go and marry Gomer, therefore showing the love I had for Israel. And from there I read how Gomer formed this relationship. They had all these children, and then she went right back to what she was before. And I can't count the times in my life I would go to church, or I would come and I'd pray a drunken prayer on the side of the road. And I'd promise the Lord everything, and I'd do good for a few weeks, and I'd go and get that job, or I'd go and start that school, and I'd hold my word for a few months, and then I'd be right back to the same old thing. And that's one thing you see, because as I drive around Holden, I see me walking the streets. I don't see a drug addict. I see a son that just doesn't know that they're a son. And the thing is the beauty of me and the beauty of you is we've all got stories. And we've all got testimonies. Not only is our testimony in the blood of the Lamb what makes us overcomers, but your testimony is somebody else's prophecy, because they need to be where you're at. Just like these men were talking about, they looked at people in their lives and seen that the goodness of God that was shown in their life. They say, I need that. I don't know what it is, because it sure ain't my testimony, but I need what you have. And that was the word of the Lord coming, because what was good for them is good for me. And what is good for me is good for them, but how else are they going to know unless we first go out to the highways and the byways? So, as I found Gomer, I found one reason why a lot of people can't do it. And a lot of people can't get it right in church, is because we feel like we understand God and we know God, and we come into church thinking He's going to make everything better. But the first thing He done to restore His relationship with Gomer was He stripped her of everything. Because God, it says back in the Exodus, it said God's name is jealous. His very name is jealous, and He's an all-consuming fire. And as I started to look into that and I started to question it, the Lord is so jealous for His relationship with you, He'll burn up anything that stands in between. And as I was coming to understand that all I wanted in my whole life was a family. And a family that wasn't crazy, because even though my parents were good people, they wasn't always saved. I grew up in a lifestyle to where it was no strange thing for a cop to be showing up any given night, or I'd be waking up during the night with screams and fighting and glass breaking. And I thought that was normal, because you could go anywhere down my block and you heard the same thing. And every kid back home, we had the same look in our eyes, and we didn't tell on nobody. And when we had a problem, we got mad about it, and we handled it ourselves. We didn't go to the teachers, we didn't go to the police, and we sure didn't go to anybody. We were men, we took care of it ourselves, we took care of our families, and we done what we had to do. And I couldn't even live up to that standard as I got older, because I couldn't even take care of myself. And I found myself bouncing couch to couch, begging for $20 here, $20 there, stealing what I could, just to feel nothing. And I felt so happy, because I could get a little bit of poison from my life, and I was killing myself. And I was okay with it, because there was no hope. And that's what got me, and that's what God wanted to bring to me tonight. And that's what I wanted to share, was Jose and Gomer gave me hope. Because if Gomer can run off, and she can do her own thing, and she could have everything and lose everything, it said that something happened inside of her circumstances. And my whole life, the reason why I couldn't accept God was because I was blaming God for something He had no part to. I heard how God was a good father, and I heard all these great stories about Him. I wanted to believe it, but I couldn't see it, because all the bad in my life, and God had no part of that, because He's the author and finisher of my faith. And anything that is not done in faith is sin. So anything that does not come with a positive harvest is not of faith. So I'm looking around and I'm seeing everybody dying. I was 24 years old, and I didn't have a dad to call no more. And I didn't feel like that was very good of a father, because I didn't understand what it meant to have a father. I had a great dad growing up, but what I remembered my dad as is what he was, and later on in his life I never changed my perception. And that was the first reason why God had to strip everything in the first place. Because it said he'd come and he stripped her of everything, all the raisin cakes and all the garments and all the fields, so that she would see who gave it to her in the first place. Because it wasn't what she was chasing after. That wasn't the fulfillment. The fulfillment was in him because he was the provider. And she knew in order for him to see who he really was and to let her understand what her fulfillment, her purpose really is, he had to strip her of everything. But the good thing about God is my God is a God of restoration. Then if you can go and look at the story of Job, for a season Job lost everything just to get back double what he had in the first place. Does that mean God wants to take from you? Absolutely not. But if it means that you're going to grow more in him, he'll do it in a heartbeat. Listen, my dad loved me, and one thing I understood about that, my dad loved me, but he looked at me one night and he said, son, if you don't get up in that room, he says, I'm going to knock you out. And he said, I'm going to call the law and you're going to go to jail. And I said, all right. You're going to hit me? Fine, I'll go lay down, whatever. Because my dad never talked to me like that. I know I've seen him talk to plenty of other people like that, but he never talked to me like that. And I pondered on that, and I come to realize the whole reason he done that was because he loved me so much. He seen where I was going. He said, look, I'll bring some discipline into your life if I have to. And the Lord takes no pleasure in taking them. The reason why people will leave the church in offense towards God is because they feel like God took in the first place, and you can never trust a God that you feel like took something from you.
Amen.
God only gives. His name's Jehovah Jireh. He's the provider. He's not the taker. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And the thing about it is we take on the identity of the thief because what did Jesus say over and over again to his disciples? He said, you're of your father Satan. He wasn't talking about them and who they was. He's talking about the nature they was acting out of because, contrary to popular belief, the cross hadn't been done yet. The disciples wasn't saved. And long before they ever got saved, God sent himself into this world to show people who they were called to be way before they ever got there. And you'll learn that, especially if you work inside of a recovery ministry. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I look around at some of these guys and I feel like Jesus thinking, how long do I got to suffer you until you just do what you're called to be, man? But, that's the beauty of it is I was that guy too because like they said, they should have gave up a long time ago. Because I wasn't obedient. I was rebellious. I was ungrateful. I was spiteful. I stole. I watched a lot of guys leave out of this program and never made it back. And that hurts a little bit. But sometimes in life we see things happen and we can learn from it. Because I tell you what, when I got it right, I finally decided I wasn't going to let that happen again. And any type of failure you feel, just like Gomer, she probably had to deal with some shame there for a little while until she realized it didn't belong to her. Once she finally became the person that she was supposed to be, she probably had some stuff to go on because I guarantee she was the talk of the town. Yeah. But the thing of it is without her going through what she went through, the transformation will never happen because if you read at the end of it, and this is what stuck to me, it said that during that time, the gate of the valley of trouble got turned into the gateway of hope. There was no change in the location that she was currently at. The only thing that changed was the perception of what she was going through. It was no longer God was taking from me to harm me or hold me. God was stripping me of everything. That way I see the need for Him, and that way I'd come to Him. And now I promise you, I've got more than I ever had. And it's not found in a vehicle, and it's not found in material things. I've got a family I've not seen in 17 months. I'm getting ready to go home for the first time and talk to them. You want to like it? My God restored it, but there's a process to that. Just like Gomer had to go into a wilderness experience, and a lot of times we go into a wilderness experience and we get mad and we get upset and we leave God. But the beauty of a wilderness experience, He'll do one of two things. If you want to complain and murmur, it's going to kill you out. But if not, it'll birth something in you. Yeah. Jesus will withdraw into the wilderness, and that's where He was birthed forth into His ministry. Yes, sir. And don't get it twisted. Man or woman, young or old, we've all got a ministry here on this earth. Absolutely. And the goodness of God is we don't get it right more often than not. I love to say I'm a gentle, soft-spoken man, but I've still got temper issues that the Lord's working out in me at times. But there's a grace that covers it. And there's a grace that brings all this together because not only does God know me and love me and know what He's called me into, He puts me around a bunch of guys that's just like it. They might need a little bit of hollering at every now and then because it's the only way it's going to receive from them. And then as we grow together, you see some of these men turn into some of the greatest preachers and evangelists that you ever seen, and it brings joy to my heart that I get to take part of that. God called me for the foundations of the world for this very thing, just as He's called you to this church.
Yes.
Now, He's called you to this community, and He didn't call you to this community just to sit inside four walls. And so many people let me walk by while I was out there because I didn't look like them, and I didn't talk like them, and I sure didn't act like them, and I was a handful. And to be honest with you, I come into church, if someone talked to me, I'd shake their hand, but I didn't want to talk to fake. I wanted to talk to someone that was real, and I didn't even know what real was, but I knew I didn't want a half-crooked smile. I wanted someone to show me they loved me, because at the end of the day, I didn't feel like I was nothing. I was on the point of suicide when I come in here. And the day I found my hope, and the day I finally figured it all out, I was running through the woods, and I don't brag on my past because it's nothing to be proud of, but I was running through the woods one night, and all I could see was spotlights up on the hill above looking for me, and I jumped down, and I thought of Hosea and Gomer as I was sitting down there. And I thought about how I'm in the woods, just like this wilderness experience that he talked about that is hedged in. And for some reason, I couldn't get quite high enough that day. And I couldn't numb out the thoughts that was echoing in my head, because I call it when the spotlight fades and when you're only faced with yourself at the end of the day, you'll hear the voice of the Lord. You might not recognize it, but I'd hear that there was a better way, and I'd feel shame for the things that I was doing. And in that moment, it hit me. I just buried my dad 3 days ago. And I looked around at what addiction had done to my family. You know, I got a niece that from now on she's going to visit her daddy in the graveyard and her grandpa in the graveyard, all because of a choice that we made in our life that affected us into this point. And I seen how the enemy had come in. And then I looked at the other side of the ones that was making it, was living in trailers with no heat in the wintertime and in and out of prison. And I decided that this wasn't a life that I wanted to live. And I prayed the most honest prayer. And it wasn't, oh, God, save me. I'll come down and I'll never sin again. I won't smoke a cigarette. I won't do this or I won't do that. I said, God, I don't even know if I believe in you. But if you're real, will you show me who you are? And I'll give this to you, because I don't have nothing else to give. And I promise you, I'm not going to be perfect, because I've already done this prayer too many times. And in that moment, I felt something I never felt before. And the Bible talks about it, and I found out a little bit later on that there will be a peace that goes beyond any understanding that will hit you. And all of a sudden, I stood up a little bit taller, because I wasn't too worried about them spotlights on the hill no more. Because something was different, and I didn't know what was happening. All I knew I needed to do was go. So I got in my vehicle, and I started driving by, and I looked, and there sat the cop. One was looking for me, blue lights flashing. I just drove right on by him, and I heard the voice of the Lord speak so vividly. I can still hear it today. And he said, look, I shielded this from you, and there's a grace for you for this season, and there's forgiveness for you, but what are you going to do with it? And that's my question is I had my own personal stripping process, but we all go through our own stripping processes. Are we going to allow our circumstances that have burned all this stuff to the surface, that purifies our faith and tests it and shows it's genuine, are we going to just sit down on it and let it just be another story that we tell grandkids one day? Or are we going to allow this to be the thing that takes our valley of trouble and it turns it into a gateway of hope? Because the only way it's a gateway of hope is Jesus said that He was the gate.
Amen.
At that moment, I didn't have nothing but Jesus, because I sure didn't have no money. I sure didn't even have no cigarettes, because I left them in the car, and I had nothing but a pair of Snickers, and I was about to lose them. And I say that, and it's kind of funny, but it's sad really. But that's the beauty of it all, is because during that transformation process, Gomer said, look, I'll go back to my husband. I had it better with him. That sounds just like the story of the prodigal son. I looked around and realized my slop. And I said, look, Lord, I'm just here. I'm just here. If you want this, I'm just here. And in that moment of mine, that one brief moment of faith that I had, that one real brief glimpse of hope that I carried, the Lord come in, and that night was the night that Jeremy Lee Henderson started to die. And I don't identify as Jeremy no more. I mean, I'm Jeremy, obviously. Someone says, hey, Jeremy, I turn around and look at him. I'm a son. That's my identity. That's who I am. And I have a good Father that even when I hated Him and I was an enemy of Him, came and was crushed for my transgressions and was resurrected for my new life, even when I was still a sinner. Even when I still thought I knew better and had it figured out and I had no plan, I stole from his people. I desecrated his church. By all means, I was not a good guy. And I didn't look like I was ever going to amount to anything. But that one night, his great love, when everyone else said, I can't deal with you. My mom had already changed the locks. And, you know, the churches, when they see me come in, the few that was good ones, they'd love me. But they said, son, we've done all we can do for you. We don't know what else to do. I said, I need some hope and something outside of this. And when I came to the realization that next morning, everything that's happening, I said, Lord, I will go anywhere but Life Changers. I promise you, I'm not fundraising no more. And I'm not following rules. And to be honest with you, I kind of want to smoke cigarettes. And I miss being real. That's just where I was at. I'd already been through so many summers of standing in the heat and so many winters of standing in the cold asking for money, and I just didn't want to do it. See, and we was talking today is how sometimes the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Yes, sir.
But see, God gave me what little bit of confirmation I needed, because I got on Facebook and looked, and I said, Lord, I'll go anywhere but Life Changers. And the very first thing that popped up was a picture of me and another guy at Life Changers. I shut the thing and I said, look, all right, Lord, they said you can police you, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you. If it's meant for me to come, I'm not even going to have to put forth an effort. And I started talking to one of my good friends, which is down in our North Carolina center, and he's over the worship for the whole North Carolina deal. I said, hey man, you know, how you doing? He said, my dad just passed away. I said, I just lost my dad too. I'm sorry to hear it. He said, how you doing? I said, I'm not doing so good. He said, okay, well, we'll drive right now and pick you up. And they said, we'll stop right now 5.5 hours and come and get you. I said, I can't deny that this is what the Lord has for me. I can't deny. And there come a point where Gomer couldn't do it either. And as that gateway started to open up, there was a transformation that changed the course of her life forever. It said that she is no longer called my master, but she said, this is my husband. Religion died with me in the woods that day because I realized there was nothing I could do. And my whole problem wasn't an addiction problem, it was a religion problem, because I thought I had to be a certain way and act a certain way to come to God and to be called a son of Him, because that's all I knew. Is because in a small town, and I'm sure you know it, you got to prove yourself to people. You got to be able to hold your word, and you got to be able to work real hard, and you got to be able to not miss work. Listen, I'll be honest with you, I'm still not that guy just yet. I'm a lot better than what I was, but I know who I am, and the reason why I've come this far is because I quit trying to do it. I said, Lord, I can't. Will you show me how to?
Yeah.
And what would the church be today if that's what our honest prayer was? Lord, I've been in church for 40 years, but I'm going to be honest, I thought I knew how to do it, and I sure don't. I spent all my life, 22 years in church. I walked away from it, and then I come to realize for 22 years I didn't have no understanding of anything. I could quote the word to you. Anybody in the bar will tell you that, because I'd go into the bar and get to drinking, and then I'd see the brokenness of people. And don't get it twisted. You'll see good people out there, and you'll think they really got together, but the gifts and callings of God are without repentance. And what was happening was what God truly called me for was coming out, because I seen the brokenness of other people, and God gave me compassion on them. And I couldn't keep from telling them the truth, even though I couldn't believe it in my own life. And the beauty of all that was I wondered when my day was going to be. And my day did not come with a back row at a church. It had to come with me sitting in the middle of the woods with nothing but prison to look forward to, because don't get it twisted. I don't know if they just sent me to prison, but I was going away for a while. And I knew it, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't going to go down without a fight, even though there wasn't much fight for a 150-pound kid that didn't know who he was. And that's why I honor Life Changers Outreach. And for all of you who don't really know much about us, we're a year-long discipleship ministry that's completely free. We pay for all the housing, the food, utilities, just from one thing, just to come in and teach you that you're a son. Even if you don't want it, even if you don't understand it. And these people for the past 3 years have shown me love that I never could imagine. I couldn't even see that it was love, because it says that if we look at darkness and see it as good, then how great that darkness really is. I'd walked in darkness for so long, and I thought that darkness was good, and I thought that I had to operate at a certain level to be accepted by people. It took me being able to know that I was not able to offer anything, and these people still treated me the same they did today as the day I walked through the door. We had some go-arounds. We had a lot of go-arounds. But about 3 months into my program, they come to me and they said, hey, we got this opportunity coming up and we need you to go to Missouri because we got a center out there that was struggling. And they said, we actually think that you're going to be the right thing they need to lead these guys into what God's called them for. Because, don't get it twisted, there was men and women up there that fought a long time up there in them grounds. And it's really hard to start one of these ministries, especially in a territory that don't really know the way you believe and the way you feel, because they're a lot more conservative about that way. And when I went out there, I thought I made the biggest mistake in my life. And a lot of times when you operate out of hope, it said, let me backtrack a little bit. I hit a rabbit trail. I apologize, but it says that 3 things abide. You get faith, love, and hope. So when you start operating out of hope, you got to have faith and love to go with it. So a lot of times whenever you're going somewhere with the message of hope, you're going to be on nothing but faith. And in that time, everything that everybody said about me, the good and the bad, the wheat and the tare, grew up because it was my time for the harvest. And the Lord came down and swifted out the tare of my life, and I stood up as a son. I stepped into my identity and I began to grow, and all these things I struggled with my whole life began to fall away. Depression didn't have a stand no more. Fear didn't have a stand no more. I still got my battles and they still come about, but I know how to fight them now.
Yes, amen.
And my biggest heart filled is are you going through the stripping process? What's the Lord trying to get out of you? Because it sure ain't the wheat. Because I can tell by the way everyone treated us when we got here that you had good seeds sowed, that the enemy comes through for nothing more but to steal, kill, and destroy. And there's tares been planted. And my heart's cry is not that we go out and we save 10,000 people. That would be awesome. I want to see more than that. I believe that there's revival coming to the town of Logan because I refuse to believe anything other than that. God brought me here. Don't get it twisted. He's going to send someone else to my hometown. God brought me here for that very purpose, to bring the kingdom to earth today. I'm not waiting to get to heaven when Jesus. I accepted Jesus. Heaven got into me, and now I'm going to establish His kingdom here on this earth. All right. I went from teaching to preaching. Now I'm just wanting to be real with you, because I don't call myself a preacher. I don't call myself nothing but a son, and I just got one heartfelt thing because I know the Lord and I know what He tells me in my secret place. And what He's doing for me, He's going to do for every one of us if we'll just be open for it too. I grew up hearing about the stories of miracles and healings and all that, and I didn't see it no more. I refused to believe it could happen, to be honest with you, because I've seen a lot of people pray. When I come in, I found out I had hepatitis B, and they were talking about at 25 years old, the only way I was going to get any type of healing is I was going to have a new liver. I looked at that doctor in Missouri, and I said, you know what, I understand what you're saying, and by your standpoint, you're right. But I said, about 4 months ago, I come and I gave my life to the Lord, and I know He said He's going to make all things new. So if He does on this earth, or if He does it when I get into my new body, I'm cool with it. But I'm going to tell you right now, this was a setup by God for me to come and tell you about the goodness of God in my life, that He helped me overcome addiction. And I'm here to tell you that these struggles that you go through on a daily basis, you just got to give it to the Lord. He called a supervisor in on me. I thought, here we go. Because I'm going to be honest, when God started dealing with me on it, I realized that I had some changing to do, because my doctor wasn't from America, they're from the Middle East. What do we all think automatically? We start to judge people because they don't look like we do and all this. And I started to think about how these men had to sacrifice so much of their life to be able to come over here to serve us in a medical field. And Missouri was highly recognized liver specialist and everything. And I looked at that doctor, and the Lord gave me a word of wisdom about his life, or a word of knowledge more, and a little bit of wisdom. I said, you struggle at night because you actually care about your patients, don't you? And he looked at me, I said, look, man, I used to lay awake a lot of nights myself wondering if there's ever anything else other than what I'm doing, and I knew I couldn't do enough. But I said, man, He loves you. And I didn't have to preach a sermon. That dude looked at me and he said, look, you taught me something today. Here I was, 4 months saved, trying to figure it out, going through a battle myself, because I'm going to be honest, that hepatitis didn't feel too good, and it was real hard to wake up and do a program when I didn't have the energy to do it. But I refused to allow my circumstances to dictate where I was going, because I knew God had called me out of addiction, and He wouldn't call me there to die. He wouldn't call me there to be limited. He just had some purpose. And through me being sick for that season, I went and I got to tell them doctors about Jesus. And I'm telling you, in that very moment, I felt something hit my head. And it went all the way down my feet. And they said, we're going to do another blood test and believe that this is all gone. I said, well, I already know it is. But I said, okay, buddy. I said, I'll see you in 2 weeks. He said, look, if this shows up negative, you don't even come back. 2 weeks later, I come in and said that, didn't only say it's gone, it said it had been eradicated. The hepatitis B had been eradicated, and then I got to see that healing was real again, and I began to go and pray for everybody I could, everyone I seen come out. And to be honest with you, at first I didn't see no healings, didn't know if they come, but slowly they did begin to come, and it's still real for today.
Thank you, Jesus.
So my question is what's hindering us from walking in that? Each one of us, because God's not a respecter of person, and there was nothing in me. I just was crazy enough to believe it, because I knew that if God could call me out of the mess, God could take me from such a place of hopelessness and give me a hope that I can't keep from sharing, even on my bad days when I just blew up on somebody, or, I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to be able to say His name. That same old feeling I used to get in them bars would come walking by, and compassion would come and say, "Buddy, can I just pray with you?" And you wouldn't believe the times that people said, "I've been waiting for someone to do this." We get a rare opportunity. We complain about fundraising. I know I sure did, but we get to see thousands of people each week in different places, and God's training us up for something. What about the ones that's here and hoping, because we don't get out a lot? God's placed you all for this. God's placed me there. God's placed me here too, because listen, I go and get gas. I can pray for somebody at a gas station.
Yes, sir.
But what I learned the most from both sides of all of this is one thing, and I'm about to stop with all this, but I heard a preacher say a long time ago, he quoted C.S. Lewis, he said, "Preach always, use words as necessary." You really want to see heaven come down? It says that we are known that we are God's because of the love that we have for one another. Let the way we love this community and love each other, let that be the sermon that we preach. Because if you show them something different, because there's plenty of churches that tell people and they're sowing the seeds, but if you show them that they love you, because at 5.5 hours in a snowstorm, and I knew how busy this ministry was, if they said, "Look, we're going to stop what we're doing, we're going to send someone to come get you." And when I got here and I'd tell them I wanted to leave or I wanted to quit, and they didn't give up on me, even though, to be honest with you, it's probably been a sigh of relief if I walked through the door, because I had issues and I had problems, but they stayed persistent in me. And not only did it show me a love, but it trained me how to love others. So if we're not training up the next ones around us in the community and the younger ones, no wonder the kingdom dies out in areas. But it's our job. I don't care if you're 5 years old or if you're 80 years old. It's our job to be kingdom builders. He said that the kingdom is coming. What's the kingdom? Yeah, there is going to be a new heaven and a new earth, but we're the kingdom. We're the kingdom, and it comes in and out of us, and we are to set up heaven on earth just as it is in heaven. And if we can't love each other, that's what's hindering us. And I feel like one thing the Lord said He's going to do in your life, if He ain't already, is there's going to be a stripping process, but don't kick it. Don't kick it, because it's going to bring gosh almighty. If I'd only could have dreamed of this a long time ago, if I could have just seen it, I would have never went through what I went through. But I promise you, without that stripping process, I'd never be the man I am today. So I'm gonna close out. I don't know how you usually do all of this, but I'm telling you, man, if you just want to talk, come talk to me. We can talk about football if you just want to talk about football. We can talk about Jesus. We can talk about how I did it. But let's let today be a day. I ain't saying you've been doing a bad job. I'm not saying that at all. You've welcomed me here, and I honor you for that, because to be honest with you, I need to be able to do this as much as you might need to hear it.
Yes, amen.
But let's let today in all of our lives, let's let it be a day that we decide that it's no more complaining, no more bickering, no more wondering, no more looking. I'm sorry, I always say I'm going to quit, but let me tell you one thing. And Havoc, Havoc looked around and he said, "Look at what's going on around here, Lord. How much longer are you going to put up with it?" He said, "Look, I'm getting ready to do a work in your days that you wouldn't even believe it told to you. And I promise you right now, I didn't believe I was going to be doing this, and I didn't believe I was going to be seeing the people saved and devils cast out and people being healed. I'm talking about stage 4 brain cancer just falling off of people. And it's coming through the drug addicts. The ones that they said, hey, them boys ain't gonna be worth nothing. Listen, I'm not worth nothing in and of myself. My father thought I was worth everything.
Yes.
He said that he knew my needs and he engraved my name on the palms of his hands. And in eternity right now, my name's still engraved there and he knows my needs.
Yes, it does.
And I found faith in that, and I found a father in that, so I can't stop but telling people about it, even though I might not do as good a job as the next guy around. I'm going to tell you, and listen, I'm a little crazy too. You just try to shut a door on me, I'll bust through that door and tell you about how good you are, man. Ask these guys, they're the ones whenever they're wanting to get mouthy or something, it's all right, I'll get mouthy right back with you and we'll figure it out. There's a work coming, but usually, and this really is what I'm going to stay. Is even if it looks like the fields ain't producing a harvest, the Lord's still good. Even, listen, I know that there's, just by knowing the area, knowing y'all out here in the heart you have, that y'all know people that's in addiction. And you know people that's lost, that's never done anything in their life. And it looks like there's going to be no harvest. But once upon a time, my mom locked the doors on me because she thought the harvest was never going to come in my life. Oh, man. Not only did the harvest come and it's continuing to come, but now I'm a harvester.
Yes.
And he said, look at the fields. He says, the harvest is ready, but the laborers are few. He says, many are called, but few are chosen. I'm saying tonight could be the night that you could choose to be chosen. It's all a choice. How much are you going to surrender? I didn't want to be a 30-fold or a 60-fold. I wanted to be a 100-fold.
Yes,
Even if you want to be a 30, that's all right. You're in the family, but we're raising up 100-folds around here because this community needs a 100-fold increase. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna turn it back over to Pastor Jason, and I sure appreciate y'all for hearing me out.
Now I want to know, how can two men that have never laid eyes on each other talk about the same stuff? Talk about the same stuff. Listen, I know we're out here trying to reach addicts. That's what we do. But I'm going to tell you something. The Lord just really laid it on me this morning that what's going on here this week is for this church. And I'm not being mean, but we have become so closed-eyed and so closed-minded that God is wanting to show us something like we have never seen. And we're going to bring them in. We're going to bring them in. Hey, listen, I'm all about that stripping process. Yeah, it might hurt. It's like that song they sung last night. Lord, keep making me. Keep making me. I mean, if you got to break me tomorrow because of my stubbornness, because of something I'm doing that's standing in the way of you doing what you called me to do, then you break me. You break me. Because somebody out there needs a word of encouragement.
Yes, amen.
And how many times, because we thought that we couldn't do it, have we walked by? There's a boy last night, around 4 o'clock in the morning, made a post on Facebook. Said that he was getting ready to end his own life. And around 15 after 4 or so this morning, he lay down in the road in front of a car. How many people saw that post and didn't even care enough to comment back or to go see him or to go? That disturbs me. I didn't know the boy. I didn't have him on my Facebook. Lord, if I had, I would have tried to do something. But I seen that this morning, and I thought, how sad. And I'm not. It's sad. It's sad that the boy done what he done. But what's so sad is we live in such a world that is so consumed by their own desires and them receiving a blessing, that this is happening to people. Because we want to come into church and we want to say, here I am, Lord, bless me. And the whole time God's called us to be a blessing. That's how you get, you want a blessing, that's how you get the blessing. By being a blessing. Because, man, there is nothing in this world that will make you feel like helping as good as you do when you help somebody else. Nothing. I've done just about any drug you can sit and name. But I have never had anything make me feel as good as what I'm doing now. Just giving somebody a plate of food on a Monday evening makes you feel so alive. And we sit in church and we wonder why we feel so dead. You don't have to have no special kind of anointing to hand a plate of food. But I'm telling you, God's trying to tell us something. He really is. You know, there was a prophecy given over this church. I wasn't here when it was given, but I've heard about it. About how God was going to take this church out of the holler. Not the building. The church. That's a building. Here's church. And it's good to come and worship and have our time here with one another. But man, there's a world out there. And I say it all the time. And for God so loved the world. Not the righteous. Not the church. For God so loved the world. Man, I love Jesus. I love what He's put inside of me. I'm telling you what, I was down there street preaching during the Freedom Festival. And I'm telling you, when they hollered them obscenities at me and began to laugh and mock me, that done something to me. I'm telling you what, that put something inside of me that, I'm telling you, made me feel like I had a purpose. And I know that sounds crazy. But man, the first thing I thought about, you can ask the ones that was with me, the first thing I thought about was when Jesus said, they persecuted me, they'll persecute you. And I thought, oh my Lord, here we go. But we're going to let Brother Timmy come back up here and sing us another song or two. We was talking last night about Cecil. We started doing this. How long's it been, honey? Going on 3. Yeah. And the first service that we ever had, very first one, Cecil Keeney was the one that walked through the door. Hadn't seen him in years. And when I tell y'all, when I say me and Cecil went way back, we go way back. But he was the first one. The first one. And you know, I said it last night and I'll say it again tonight because it brings my heart so much joy. He may have left this world, but he left this world sober. He left this world sober. And I'm telling you right now, if we can't rejoice in that fact, then shame on us. We need a good dose of Jesus. Because you know the very thing that set out to destroy him didn't take him out of this world. So we're going to light a candle for a few minutes to honor our friend. And I don't know if his family watches or what, but I'm so proud of where he was when it all came to an end. I'm so proud. I watched him for 3 years fight with everything that he had. I watched as that man come into a church house one night with his thumb totally black, was probably going to lose his entire hand. And I watched as we prayed for that man, and the blackness just disappear off of his hand, and he lost that much of a thumb. I seen it with my own eyes. And like I said, I don't know if his family watches, but if they do, I want them to know that I was so proud of him. I was so proud of him. But we're going to light this in memory of Cecil. We're going to do this every night this week. He was the first. And we just want to honor his life.
Same old road for miles and miles. If you've been hearing the same old voice tell the same old lies, if you're trying to feel the same old holes inside, there's a better life. There's a better life. If you got pain, He's a pain taker. If you feel lost, He's a way maker. If you need freedom, a savior, He's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, He's a chain breaker. We've all searched for the light of the day and the dead of night. We've all found ourselves worn out from the same old fight. We've all run to things we know just ain't right. There's a better life. There's a better life. If you got pain, He's a pain taker. If you feel lost, He's a way maker. If you need freedom or savior, He's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, He's a chain breaker. If you got pain, He's a pain taker. If you feel lost, He's a way maker. If you need freedom or savior, He's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, He's a chain breaker. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
You know, we had the opportunity to see Cecil, amen, when he come down to the shop, about 2 weeks ago, and he looked really good. He had put on about 25 pounds. He had good color, amen. I mean, just his hands looked good, and just everything about him was just glowing, amen. And I didn't even know it was him when he came in. I said, Cecil, how you doing, brother? He's just such a good guy. If you had a chance to know him, amen. I'm gonna sing one more, amen. I've heard heard this word tonight a lot, amen. You're a good, good Father.
Yes.
Well, I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like. Oh, I've heard the tender whispers of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. And I've seen many searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, just what we need. When we say a word, you're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Oh, it's a love so undeniable. I can hardly speak. The peace is unexplainable. I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still love. Love, you're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are. Sing it one more time. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are. He's a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father.
Praise the Lord.
Man, how many's enjoyed tonight?
Praise the Lord.
That was some. Well, I'm just gonna put it out there like it is. There was some amazing preaching.
Word for the church.
I mean, it really was.
Word for the church.
Word for the church.
Oh my God.
It's, I looked around when I got here and I kind of got disappointed. I was like, man, there ain't nobody else here. I mean, last night we had this place full. There wasn't nothing but our church people here tonight. And then I heard what he was saying and everything, and I thought, Lord, this is what this was for.
Word for the church.
Work for us. Man, God's got work for us to do. You know why? Because we're the only ones that can do it. They can't, nobody else get out there. You know, and it might as well be us. We crazy enough to get out there. But you know, let's, like I said, I'm not going to dismiss. We're just going to keep going. And I know everybody gave last night, and that's fine if you, but like I said, we don't take up no offering. We sit out a bucket, and it's strictly donations. And we use it to buy the food for our outings and for, you know, when I have to go pick up people and take them to meetings and churches and stuff, that's, you know, what we use the money for. And that's why we don't ever take up no offering. We just do strictly donations. And but we're going to say good night. God bless you. Let's give these boys a hand. Very good. Very good.